Welcome back, everybody, to the CHG podcast.
It's finale day.
It is, well, I guess yesterday was technically. Actually, by the time you see this,
day for us.
By the time they see this, it'd be 2 days ago. It was the finale day.
Yeah.
But welcome back to CHG podcast. This is a gaming podcast, and where we've been covering the Last of Us TV show on HBO. This past Sunday was the season finale. As a lot of you know, we watched it, and first of all, a lot shorter. And I'm not even digging at you about what you said the other week, but like I was even surprised.
I swear that someone said, like, somewhere said it was going to be longer. Maybe it was just speculation. I swore I could have. I remembered someone saying it was going to be like an hour and a half or something. But
I mean, regardless of what you said, even I was surprised at how short this one was going to be. Like when I got past, like when the last time ended and it was doing the intro, I checked the time. And I was like, we're already like almost 5 minutes deep. And this episode's only 54 minutes. And I know they're going to do a behind the scenes on this one. So I was like, damn, this is about to be like 45 minutes. Or maybe even less, which I guess is an hour if it was on television with commercials. But yeah, I was very surprised at how short this was, given how much longer a lot of the other ones have been. So that was my first thing I was going to say. Second thing is, this is now won the new award for most adapted from the game. That's for sure. Yeah. It was literally from start to finish, pretty much.
Besides the whole thing, the Ashley thing.
Besides the intro we got with some very needed backstory.
Yeah.
And then they did omit the whole subway, or I guess tunnel scene. That was not in there, which I could see that, because that was kind of only in there just because it's a game. You know what I mean? Like just to keep the tension high, to make it seem like it's actually a journey to get to the hospital. So like that I understood, and it would make, it kind of doesn't make that much sense, especially if you are a sleuth from the game and you picked up some of the artifacts and documents throughout the game. When you're in the hospital, there's actually a moment before you go and deal with the doctors and shit, where you can find a note from or a tape recording from Marlene or something, where she says how they spotted Joel and Ellie like way early on by the time they got there. And so if you remember that, it does kind of make sense for them to have, intercepted them where they did, instead of like after they had came out through a fucking flooded tunnel, so it made sense. Like I was actually not even expecting them to have the tunnel bit in the game, just because I knew that was just for the purposes of it being a game.
Yeah. So and then in the game, I can't remember, the show has this whole thing about Joel's scar on his eye, and then he reveals that the guy who shot at him and missed him was himself trying to commit suicide. Mm-hmm. Is that in the game?
No.
Okay. So that's another
So
addition.
That was so it kind of just did a swap, because in that area first of all, I'm glad that they did the tent, the big old tent area. I was gonna be really upset if that wasn't there, because in the game that was actually a pretty emotional point, because I think even when you're in there, I think some somber music plays just while you're exploring the different tents, grabbing gear or whatever's left over and stuff like that. But anyways, when you get towards the end of it, Ellie, it's actually an optional conversation. You don't even have to have it, but Ellie will call for Joel, and you can turn around and talk to Ellie, and Ellie will give Joel the picture of Sarah that his brother tried to give to him back at his camp, or in his settlement. And he said at the time Joel didn't want it, because he was like, he didn't want to face it, probably, I imagine. He didn't want to deal with it. But when Ellie gives it to him, after everything they've been through, and now he's more open with everything, he takes it and kind of looks at it, and he keeps it this time. But in the game, he like takes like a deep breath, and it was like something about like, I don't know, past, you can't escape it, or something. He says something in regards to it, but it's emotional. It's an emotional part, and it's really nice to see him finally accept it. It's like a moment of acceptance in a way, and it's really nice. And it happens in that area, So I'm just glad that they kept the area because I knew something. I was like, if that's there, something will happen emotionally. Then I guess they swapped it for the picture thing. They swapped it with this scar, which I didn't even know he had a scar.
They mentioned it. They mentioned it like the second or third episode. She's like, "Oh, what happened?" And he was like, "Someone took a shot at me, and and they missed." And then she was like, "Well, did you get them?" He's like, "No, I missed too." And she was like, "You're a bad shot," or something like that.
Don't remember. I mean, if it wasn't for that bit that they did at the beginning, in the what happened last time?
Yeah,
I saw that bit that they did. I don't remember that at all.
Yeah.
I remember not at all. Not even a fraction.
But no, I love that scene. Again, the stuff that they add, I end up loving, and I love that addition too because you you connected with Joel's connection to Ellie because you were playing as Joel. So like when I got to the hospital part and we go to get Ellie back, as the player, I was like, yeah, fuck everyone. I'm killing everyone to get Ellie back.
Is that how you felt?
I did, yeah. I was one of those ones. I was one of the ones that was like, yeah, I'm okay doing this. Like
I was one of probably the conflicted ones.
Yeah.
Like I'm gonna do it because it's the game and I have to progress. But I didn't feel righteous. I didn't feel,
I don't know if I felt righteous, but I knew what I was okay doing what I was doing.
I didn't feel justified, I guess I should say. I did not feel justified.
With the show, you can really like in that moment looking back on it, when she's like, oh, look, time heals all wounds, and he's like, it wasn't time that healed his wounds. It was Ellie.
Yeah.
So like you understand like, okay, this isn't just about losing another daughter, which again, like he would be, and that's hard enough. This is basically his reason to live. Like without Ellie, he has no reason to live. So it doesn't matter to him if the rest of the world is saved or not. His reason for living is Ellie. So I like that addition. I think it explains his reasoning.
What we get with that conversation that we didn't have in the game is additional context to Joel's psyche during this whole time. Because, we could figure it out on our own in the game, but the show provides some of that extra context. Because you aren't in a game, you have to kind of have some of this extra context, especially for a more casual audience. And it does paint this better picture of, like, Joel, like you said, like, Joel he's now at the point where like he loves Ellie and love makes you do selfish things, and to the point where he will sacrifice the possibility of reviving humanity to what it was, and if he gets to have Ellie. So we figured that out on our own in the game. Most of you, or you guys have played it, but the show needed to add some of this extra stakes for Joel, because otherwise it might not have felt as justifiable if you did feel that way with it when it ended up happening.
I think it explains his motives a little bit better, because you don't have in the game you have that connection, that direct connection, to where it makes the question a little bit harder for you and what's right or what's not. In this one, I think that the character really needs a strong motivator for doing what he's about to do.
Because all we had in the game, if you're just looking in the scene, the vicinity or the time frame of this episode that it covers, all we really have that Joel really cares about Ellie and kind of is a bit hesitant about it is the scene after the giraffe, where he's like, we don't have to do this. And he said, we can just go back to Tommy's, just be done with this whole damn thing. That's what he says in the game, at least. And then,
he says similar things in the
He does say similar things. I don't know why I know the words by heart, but that's what he says. And Ellie wants to see it through, obviously. But that's all we had in the game, beyond just our natural understanding that we know he cares about Ellie now. That's all we really had in the sake of the scene here. And so it was nice to get that extra motivation to see how attached Joel has become to Ellie, because we didn't really have that. We had to make our own inferences as the game progressed. Yep. And so, yes, it was really nice that we got that extra context. Also, speaking of context, back to what we said earlier, we saw Ellie's mom, played by Ashley Johnson.
Yeah, and we were talking about this last night. I was texting RJ after I got done watching it, and I could tell from her running, like her grunts while running, that it was Ellie's voice. I was like, that's fun. That's how Ellie grunts. Like, and I love that she was involved. I've loved all of the cameos. I think, though, honestly, I'm glad that they waited this long to do it, though, because I think if they would have given us this like early on, like the first episode, I would have never seen Bella as Ellie, because as soon as I heard Ellie's voice, I was like, that's my Ellie. That's my fucking Ellie. Like, I was like, oh my God, like that's Ellie.
That's the voice. There it is. Like, that's who I'm talking about.
Now that it's the last episode, I can, in my mind, I do have two Ellies now. I have Bella Ramsey, Ellie, the show Ellie, and that is Ellie for me in this context. And I have the game Ellie. I think if they would have done that right off the bat, though, I wouldn't have been able to separate it. Or if I would have played the game right before I watched the show, too, I don't know if I could have separated it, just because Ashley Johnson's Ellie is so iconic of a voice.
I mean, that's Ellie. I mean, when I didn't really feel it until she was talking in the behind the scenes, and then she was able to talk more, and I was like, I can hear it.
Yeah,
I can hear it. There's Ellie.
Like I said, I heard it from the grunts. I heard it when she said when she was talking to Marlene, and she was like, it was fucking after I was bit. It was fucking before I was bit, and she, like, the way that she says like fucking, I'm just like,
I still didn't get her voice. I still didn't really hear. So I guess I was trying to just look at her as a new character.
Yeah, I couldn't.
Maybe
I really couldn't.
I mean, I don't blame you. But I see, maybe I was just trying to just look at her as she's just Ellie's mom. But I will say, when she was saying, though, about like the fucking beforehand, not the voice, but just the attitude. It was the attitude that made me kind of smile, because I was like, "Oh, there's Ellie right there. She's always going to be Ellie."
Yeah,
because that attitude, that spunky.
And I
was
think
like, that
works.
Like, I'm glad Ellie kept that.
I think it works that they that's her mom. So like the lineage is there, and I think it helps in that like I can see the Ellie we know in the game giving birth to Ellie from the show. Like, the lineage is there.
Yeah. So
like I could see that. So that was another, once again, love the context, love the cameo, was fucking awesome.
But I gotta say, so they still did not confirm or deny anything, but that's our best hint at why Ellie is immune.
Yeah,
and by the way,
well, no, they kind of confirmed it. Marlene says to Joel that the doctor thinks that she's been living with it at birth, and because of that, the cordyceps see her as a cordyceps.
I remember you saying that. But I again, this, because I read an article this morning about it, and they didn't say, anyone from the show hasn't said that is it. Like, they didn't say this is the reason. There's still like a hint. But I will say, though, here's the thing. Like, I love how Ellie's mom, I think she kind of lied. I was like, watched this shit. I was like, she was bit while she gave birth. Yeah. So she
straight up lied, and that's why I think Marlene knew too. I think Marlene knew, and that's why Anna looked at her and was like I cut before I was fucking bit, and just like, I think that Marlene knew, and Anna was like, no, you don't understand. This is how it happened.
But I'm just like, but it's not. Like, I saw this shit happen. So yeah, that was interesting. I was
talking about shit you saw or did not saw. Did you go back to see the zipper scene?
No.
You didn't go back?
I wasn't bothered. But yeah, so it was interesting. I was like, okay, that seems interesting though. So she was bit around the same time. So I guess maybe it went to the blood as she came out. So it's just interesting how that works.
And the umbilical cord, and
yeah, it's just interesting how that worked. Maybe a little bit went in, but then she cut it, and then like no more cordyceps could go in. Like it's just it opens up questions now, which is really interesting. But I do appreciate the back. But I do appreciate the conversation. I appreciate them giving us this.
That they kind of explain why.
Yeah, and with a bit of a scientific explanation behind it. So it's really nice because all we got in the game was like Marlene says she's getting prepped for surgery, and then Joel freaks out and says, which he does say in the show, like, cordyceps grows all over the brain. And then Marlene was like, yes. And then it's like, oh, Ellie's gonna die. Like, so we get that bit, but we don't get that explanation. Which, by the way, kind of transition to the hospital. Can we just talk about how I'm happy that they made it a real fucking lived in hospital. Like, I'm so happy they did shit like this. Like, again, it's another example of just them adding things that are necessary. Because in the game, it's literally Marlene, the security guy. That's it. And then when he starts to do his bloodbath, all the people to show up, but like immediately no one's in this hospital. It's like, but in the show, it's like we got like people running the desk. Like, it's like as if it's a real hospital, which I'm like, thank you. I'm so glad you did this because it would make no sense otherwise.
What I want to talk about, and this is why, again, I think people rightfully so, like this is the last couple years have been the years of Pedro Pascal, because the way he goes on this bloodbath is just so fucking cold. Like he's just walking, just sees a guy behind the glass and just like, pop, walks a little bit long, like gets shot at, comes out, pop.
I was gonna say that was the most video game ass shit in a show I have ever seen. Like, it even had like, the trope of games where like you'll be behind cover and the guy will still keep shooting for some reason, even though you're not invisible, and then you just pop out. Boop, boop, boop. Like, I was like, this is the most video game thing ever, and I'm sure David is loving it right now. Because that was your biggest thing you're worried about, was this scene. And so I should ask you, how did you feel about this scene?
So again, we talked about it a little bit last night, and we normally don't text about it because we want everything to be on the podcast. But it was, and we'll get to our ratings later. But it was just such a good episode. I really wanted to talk to RJ right away. I loved it. This was, I think, as good as I could have hoped. That, like I said to RJ last night, I wish that they wouldn't have so they did like the first probably like minute and a half, like beat by beat, like didn't skip any time or whatever. And then they kind of did like a montage at the end through him killing like people in a hallway and stuff like that, to get to the doctor scene. I would have liked them to just play it all out, just from the stairs to the doctor, to the operating room. Like, let's see it all. Let's fucking see the whole bloodbath. But that being said, I'm fine with how they did it. Pedro Pascal had a mission. His mission was to get to Ellie, and he didn't give a fuck about anyone. Like, it was so cold. And the way that the doctor like says, I'm not gonna let you get to it, and he's just like, pop. Like, no hesitation. Like, in the game, you can hesitate. Like, and it gives you that, like, as a player, I hesitated for a little bit. I was like, oh, like, he's like even though I was, like I said, I was all for saving Ellie. Even I hesitated at shooting the doctor. But Pedro, not at all. He was just like, I'm not going to let you take her. And he's just like, boop, unhook her. Like, it was so cold. So it was amazing. It was the best I could have hoped for. Minus, I guess I say that, but they could have done the whole, from stairway to operating room. But still, it was awesome. Very video game like, very cold, non-emotional. He didn't say a fucking word. He just going to save his daughter.
I will share your sentiment about wanting more of it. I think it started off super strong. Now in the game, we didn't have 2 guards, it was just 1, but it was fine. And it went down a stairwell, which is fine. It's because he didn't do that, which makes I was thinking they have to, because again, there's people here, whereas in the game there was no one in the lobby. Anyways, he kills them and even says, like, even shoots the guy in the nuts, which that is from the game. I was always wondering if Joel shot him in the balls, because it looks like he does. And he actually shoots him twice in the balls, but he even did that, and even said, like, he shoots him once, asks where Ellie is, and he even says, like, I don't got time for this, and shoots him again.
He's like, fuck you, and he's like, I don't have time for this. Pop.
Yeah, that's literally from the game. So, like, it started off very, very strong, and I was like, oh no, here's David's bloodbath. And then it went to a montage with music playing, no other really audible sounds, or not much, or it was muted or muffled or whatever.
Yeah, it was about muffled.
And then Joel was very cold and calculated. I saw where they were going with it, different direction. I did like the coldness from Joel, but I too was kind of thinking it was going to be more. I did kind of think that, especially since, like you said, and many people online have been like pleading for more action. I thought that's where we would have gotten a whole lot of it, like to actually fight his way to it. But I guess in an instance, it could make sense that he didn't really have to, because who's to say everyone in that building is actually like a trained militia fighter, right? Like the dude who put his gun down, he didn't look like he was ready for action.
No,
he didn't look like he was ready for
just
combat.
felt fucking cold. Like, guy puts it down and Joel's just like, pop.
Well, yes. I mean, and here's the thing. Here's the thing that makes sense to me about him being cold, because if you look how he was in the game, yeah, you said like you hesitated, but you only hesitated because you had agency to do so, because it's a game. But it's like, if you think about how Joel was when he started this bloodbath, like the cutscene that started the whole thing, you would expect him to be that cold, because he was ready to do all of this. So it makes sense that they portrayed that demeanor properly with the show here, with him being just absolutely apathetic to anybody, and he was going to mow down anyone and everyone to get to Ellie, because that's how he was kind of acting in the game. It was just after that, though, it's just all us playing him, so he doesn't really talk much at all during it either. So you kind of forget how he was supposed to be thinking, because we're just worried about us playing. But if you were to just have him just do his own thing, he would do probably the exact same thing. Just go on a fucking rampage like Terminator and just kill everybody. So it makes sense. But again, I do think I do wish there was a little bit more. Because when the scene started, I looked at the timestamp and I was like, damn, there's like 25 minutes left. Okay, here we go. It's a bloodbath time. Now, they gave this ample time for the bloodbath. And we didn't really get a bloodbath. We got a man. We got the running man. That's what we got, but we didn't get necessarily a bloodbath. So I did wish there was more. And so, yeah, but otherwise, it was really cool. I really liked Joel's demeanor, like I said. Here's the thing, though, and this is kind of the caution for everyone who's already played the game and remembers the game. This episode was so one-to-one from start to finish, and there was only a little bit of added stuff that is actually almost anticlimactic, because you know exactly what is going to happen. So there's really no surprises. After like literally from the scene, like when they get to the hospital, it's pretty much the exact same thing. Everything's almost the exact same thing. And so it's like, it's cool to see this, but it was like, I literally know what's happening. Like, because they did it. I mean, I'm happy they did it. For adaptation, it was great, but it also left little for surprise for people who know the game very well. So I wasn't like I wasn't taken aback from this episode, blown away like some of the other ones, just because like, yeah, they did it. They did it exactly how I thought. And I guess this is why people who are adapting things like this say that you should just make it a 1-to-1 adaptation, because you have results like this. Because you get people who would be like, I mean, it was nice. It was cool, fun. I mean, yes, they did it faithfully, but like, I guess we really don't want a full, faithful, adaptation, because then it's boring. Or it's like, it's not as fulfilling as you want it to be. You're not surprised because you know what it is.
I'll say this, and again, we'll get to our rankings in a little bit, but I will say I am okay with it in this instance, because
this instance is fine, but I now see what people are talking about when they discuss this.
No, yeah, for sure. Like I agree with you. I knew exactly what was going to happen. He goes in, kills the doctor, takes Ellie, holds her, kind of looks at her, takes her down in the elevator. Marlene shows up. She tries to convince him. He's like, and then it cuts
to the
to the car.
Which I was happy they did that. Like they really did the same.
Exact fucking cut. She wakes
and then
up.
cut back to the garage at the right time.
Yeah.
Even Ellie was waking up and moving and turning in the exact same ways.
Yeah.
I was like, God damn.
Like
son.
they had,
okay.
They haven't talked about it, but the actors had to have at least like watched the cutscenes or something, because it was so perfect. And him being like, "Oh yeah,
I'm sure they did.
There's tons
I'm sure
of people."
It was probably required viewing before they took the role.
Yeah, and just like flashing back to Marlene, and he's like, "No," and just fucking shoots her, like.
And even when he puts her to the truck, you can hear Marlene in the back, or like saying like, and then he rolls up to her and she says, "Wait, no, let me go." Literally.
Like,
if you compare that to the game, it was the exact same.
And then boom.
Yeah, word for word. Like if you were to compare those, you'd be like, yeah, holy crap, is the exact same thing. Like,
yeah,
the exact same.
Someone's gonna do like a running, shot, side by side run of it, and I want to watch it just because I do think it'll be interesting. But then of course, we get back to Jackson and we have the swear to me scene.
Which, by the way, there was one line missing from that, and I don't know why it was missing, because it was a really good line. When Ellie's talking, and she starts off correctly, saying like, when I killed the first person, it wasn't alone. Her name was Riley. We were going to die together. That's all fine. But then after that in the game, she says, "I'm still waiting my turn." And she doesn't say that in the show, and I didn't know why. That's a really good line. Like I was like wondering why they took that out, because it made perfect sense to have that in there.
And it shows in the game. It shows that she is willing to die. Where we don't get that in the show, her willingness to die. And I think in the game that shows that she would have been okay sacrificing herself to make all of this worth it. And she does say like, I think earlier or something, I can't remember exactly, but she was like, "We need to make this worth it." Of course, she didn't know she was going to die, but we still get that sentiment. But yeah, we get Joel making that decision to just be like, "Promise," and then,
and even his delivery of it was pretty much the exact same, like a little bit of hesitance, and then says it, and even Ellie has that long silence.
Yeah, and like she fucking knows, like,
and then even like nodded first and then said okay. Like even that was done to perfection. Chef's kiss. Mwah. So like I said, adaptation wise, so good. But it's just like for someone who it's almost like I spoiled it for myself by playing the game.
But
in a way, like, which again, like I said, I now understand why when directors talk about they're going to adapt something, they talk about you need to find this fine line between faithful adaptation and also creative freedom, because you don't want to bore those who already know the source material, by just showing it to them in a different medium, So I get it now. I understand.
Yeah, I think so. What I think is interesting, or is that, and this shows how good of an adaptation I think this show was to the game's story. Because I think that regardless of whether you played the game first and saw the story through the game's eyes, or you saw the show first and saw that adaptation of it, and it is slightly different, either way you get the story, which is one of my favorite stories of all time. You get the same story, and I don't think that's a bad thing. Like, regardless of what medium you choose to view it from, you're not shorting yourself on the experience of the story. And I think that just goes to show how well crafted and how much care they took to the adaptation. Because, like, I don't know. I think I could talk, like, let's say I never watched the show and you only watched the show. we could have a conversation about the story and essentially have the same knowledge of both. And I think that it was done extraordinarily well.
You would have a lot of the highlights for damn sure. There are a good amount of things that I think were not in there or done at different times, which may change. Like the person who played the game needs to like know that some things like weren't, like for instance, like the one that comes to my mind right now is like there was never an underground bit in the hotel. That was never in the show.
Yeah.
And so you don't get what you don't get is Ellie shooting the guy who was trying to kill Joel, and saving his life.
Yeah.
You don't get that bit at all, which is a bummer, because that was kind of a pivotal moment because, Joel thinks that Ellie... I guess they kind of remixed it when she killed the guy when they got into Kansas City.
Brian dying in Kansas City.
I guess that kind of remixes it, but it's just interesting how that's not in there. So it's some things obviously are missing. Some cutscenes are just not going to be in the game, and which are nice because it allows those extra cutscenes in the game obviously show more of a fleshed out tale of those two really fighting to survive.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you get in the show, but you get it more in the game, because there's just more action. So you really feel like you really survived. Anywho, but yeah, and I can attest to that because I showed someone, I watched someone who hadn't played the game before, but I didn't want to bore them with the game. I was like, let's just watch all the cutscenes. Let's just watch what kind of what they dub X game the movie, because they'll just put all the cutscenes together, which usually amounts to a couple hours, or so. Well, Last of Us amounted up to 5 hours, just so because there's that many of them, and and I felt that the person I was showing it to, they got the picture, they got emotionally invested to the characters as well and everything. So it does do a good job, even if you don't want to play the game, you just want to watch, just watch it. You do. Yeah, so if you haven't played the game, I don't feel like you'll be able to hold your own in a conversation with someone who has, if you guys were to talk about the story. But also, to add on to that, crucially, those who only watch the show, they can have the same argument and discussion about the ending that we have had about from playing the
last
game.
10 years, yeah.
The exact same conversation about the justification of what Joel did. Because it gets that point put across just as well as it did in the game. Mm-hmm. And it does leave all this ambiguity in the show as it did for the game as well. So that's a testament, like you said, to how well they crafted it, because those who do care enough to want to talk about it after only watching the show, they can talk about it and have just as much back and forth as we did. Mm-hmm. And we talked about 10 years ago about the ending. So that's really good too, which I liked.
So I think we can get to our ratings, mainly because I want to talk a little bit about where we think the second season. Obviously, we already kind of know what the second season is going to be about, but I want to talk a little bit about the show's transition to that and how they're going to handle that. So let's go with our ratings. You want to go first this time?
All right.
And also do overall as well, whole season.
Okay. So for the season 9 or season, holy shit, that'd be crazy. Episode 9. I hope this doesn't have 9 seasons. I don't know what the fuck they're going to do. Turn it to The Walking Dead. So episode 9, as a show. So personally for me, like I said, I felt it was almost I was just predicting the future the entire time, which was not very fun to watch. I'm not gonna lie, for me, especially how I did feel a tiny bit let down with the blood bath, the montage bath that we got.
Yeah.
I was a bit kind of just going through the paces with this episode because of how little they added. The intro was nice. Conversation about him trying to commit suicide was really endearing, but other than that was it. Especially since the subway tunnel scene wasn't in there was really no exhilarating, no action, no nothing really till the very end, but then that became a montage. So I was like, all right, this is kind of just going how I thought it was going to go, which is fine, which is great. So for me, I'm going to have to give it 6, but for a general audience, they're probably going to fucking love this, especially the part about Joel trying to kill himself, and they're going to love the giraffe. which apparently was not CGI. Apparently it was real. But anyways,
yeah, it was like it was so real. I was like, either this is Uncanny Valley for me, or it's just a real fucking giraffe on a green screen, which creates an Uncanny Valley for the overall effect. I definitely got some Uncanny Valley-ness, and I wasn't sure if it was because the giraffe was CGI, or if the giraffe was real, and then the background was obviously going to be
like
CGI.
What I got, it was the mouth. When it was moving his mouth.
Yes, the mouth. That's when I was like, okay, that's a real fucking giraffe.
That's what made me think, like, is this real? Because goddamn, that looks really good. Like, that looks really lifelike. Anyways, apparently that was real. I saw an article this morning. Apparently it was real. But I'm actually kind of upset how they did that scene, because it didn't make any sense to me. Like, for where Ellie was in that abandoned building, I don't know how the fuck she could have saw a giraffe, because she had to climb up like 2 stories of stairs.
No, I'm right there with you. Sense. Like, she saw, maybe she saw it like it's chest through a window or something.
I don't know, but I was like, what? How the hell could you have seen this giraffe?
And then she fucking just Usain Bolt all the way up.
Yeah, and listen, the game, it was an open. It was a level field. They didn't have to go very far. They didn't have to go upstairs. And I was like, okay, that makes sense. But in the show, I was like, that makes literally no sense. So, but I think people in the show, people who don't know the game, or just don't care about thinking about the game, they probably really love this. Like I said, love the giraffe, love the endearing bit with Joel, and love that whole ending section. Love the coldness, or not love the coldness, but just felt the coldness. And in the ending, how that plays out. They'll probably give it an 8 minimum for sure. I'm sure they'll want to see some 9s. I don't think I would see some 10s, but I think an 8 to 8.5, I would see a lot of people would agree with. It's just as just a show, as just a regular show.
Yeah.
As an adaptation, 10 out of 10, and it's easy 10 out of 10. Like, from them walking on the highway, perfect. Even having the RV, the white RV, which you can go into in the game and pick up one of the comics, which I understood why that wasn't in the show. I mean, it was in the show, but I know why they didn't go inside of it, or at least not on camera. On point, completely on point. Even some of the lines between them, like with Ellie being kind of stoic and Joel having to constantly get her attention, perfect. Even I don't even know how they got this. Even how the ladder falls when Ellie lets go of it was like the same way, which I don't even know why I remember how a ladder falls, but it was like the same way. So like perfect. And then Joel getting knocked out by the dudes like with the butt of a rifle was like, I'm just like, holy shit. And then the lines between Marlene and Joel, almost, I think there's a couple extra lines, but mostly it was the same. And we already talked to depth about his, his rampage, and then the ending bit between him and Ellie. Even the stuff he says in the car is the same, literally the same. I think he said that literally word for word. I don't think I caught anything that was extra or not said. I think everything was said. And even with Ellie tossing and turning, literally in the same way. So I'm like, this is a 10 out of 10 adaptation. This was 10 out of 10. For sure.
I'll do the episode real fast, and then we'll go to the series. So mine, I think maybe I was able to separate myself a little bit more.
You seem like it.
Yeah. So early on, like, I don't know why, but I wasn't feeling it early on when Ellie was kind of like depressed, because of obviously the dramatic thing that she just went through with David. I wasn't really feeling it then, but from there on out, like after the giraffe scene, I fucking loved it, like all the way through. So I'll probably give it an 8, just because I do recognize the missing part of the bloodbath for me could have been more. And I will admit that it was that because it was so 1-to-1, that people might have wanted a little bit more context with like Joel's internal thinking. But yeah, I'll give it to 8 to a 9, somewhere along there.
You would have given it a bloodbath. You would have given it a 10 out of 10 if you had a proper full length bloodbath.
Yes.
I know, but
Yeah.
if you had a full gunfight, you would have been like 10 out of 10. I don't care what else they did.
Like from the time, like I said, from the stairway scene when he comes up, sees the guy walking like behind the glass, and he's just like pop, he goes up, shoots the guy around the corner. Then there's a guy walking, running away, and he shoots him. The guy puts the gun down, and he's like, "Oh no!" And then he shoots him. Loved it all. Then when it got real clippy, when he was in the hallway, and it kind of like, it was like jump cutting to him killing everybody in the hallway. That's when I was like, I would have liked to just see him do all of that, like a Daredevil hallway, old boy hallway type scene. Like I would have loved to see it shot just from like third person, like the video game. Like in my mind, if I'm directing this scene, instead of going into that quick cut montage stuff, it's over the shoulder, third person view like the game, and you're just like he just goes and he gets pop like high, slides down into cover, pops up, pop.
It'd be crazy if like, okay, he gets upstairs, right? And then it'd be funny if the camera pans. Like it's like whatever camera shot is not, right? But then it circles back around to behind him, third person style, and what's about to happen. You're like, this is about to be a video game. And then he does like the stuff that you were saying.
Yeah, I would love
that would have been nuts.
And just like other game, like, and this is like at the very end of the series, so I'm like, it would have been cool to like see other montages to the game. Like he picks up a brick and like throws it at somebody. So instead of him, like when he ran out of ammo that one time, instead of him like having just downed that guy, I think that he should have ran out of ammo, picked up a brick, and
like smashed him with it or something.
Yeah. I think he should have done that. I would have loved to see him also like take a bullet in the chest, in the shoulder, and then just kept going.
Yeah.
Like I would have seen. So like there was room for improvement for me. But overall, I would say 8 to a 9. Obviously, you've already covered adaptation. It's a 10 out of 10. Like that. That's the game. That's what happened. That's the story.
If you want to show someone like what happens in the game, like just watch the last episode. Yeah, that is literally what happens in the game.
It covers all of the emotional parts. I don't think they could have, and that's why I am strong on it. Even though yes, it was a 1-for-1. I don't think that it could have been any better if they had changed any of the emotional beats of it. Just the way that it's shot, the way that flashing to him in the car, like the decision's already made. Like that, it gets that feeling of like, this is final. Like it already happened. There's no questioning. You know what happened. Like, because he's in the car with Ellie, so you're like, shit, he already made that decision, and so I just think that it's perfect encapsulation of everything. So yeah, 10 out of 10. So what about the whole thing? Episode 1 through 9.
Yeah, 1 through 9. Okay. Well, again, I don't have much history with both regular television or adaptations for television from a game. At least game adaptations. I have very little. I mean, I don't watch a lot of television anymore. I haven't for years, and if I have watched adaptations, they're from books that I didn't read, so I don't fucking know. So I'm not. I mean, so like take it with a grain of salt as someone who doesn't have a plethora of knowledge of things like this. But I mean, as a show, I think if you don't know the show, like if you don't know the game, I think this is a really good drama. If you go into it expecting a drama, you will have a great time. If you go into this expecting a Walking Dead situation, which I guess I don't really know how that is because I've never seen it, but I imagine Walking Dead has more action than this show did. So if you were expecting a whole bunch of action, like it's about to be like an action adventure, Pedro's about to fucking, go die hard on these zombies.
Yeah, John Wick.
Or John Wick or something. Like if you're expecting this, he only does like one time, and that's when he's the sniper in the
the last scene. I mean, the last scene.
And I guess the last scene,
John Wick the shit out of people.
He did, but otherwise, no. This is a drama, right? And again, like kind of with the game, it's not really a survival horror. It's more than just a survival game with a whole bunch of drama in it. Like it's I don't know how this show has been labeled, but I hope it would label it. If I told someone this, it's a drama. It is a really heavy drama.
It's the genres in order, which when they list the genres, they list it in order of significance.
Okay.
It's drama, action, adventure, suspense, science fiction.
Okay, I would put I guess there's not. Yeah, I guess there's not a whole lot of suspense. Yeah. Well, see okay, that proves my point. Drama. This is a drama. It plays like it shows. It kind of puts itself out like one. The action bits are very spar in between. So if you go into it with the right mindset, right understanding, you're gonna have a great time. And with that said, I think as a show overall, between all 9 episodes, I'd probably give it a solid 8. A solid 8. Like I for the most part, I enjoyed myself immensely. Like and I don't watch a lot of TV, and I did not mind giving up my hour to an hour and a half on my Sunday nights to watch this. As an adaptation, man, 9, easy 9, easy 9. I mean, yes, some things were added, some things were taken out, but the stuff that like 9.5 times out of 10, what was added was perfect, and so it only helped raise what was already there. And so yeah, this is an easy 9 for adaptation for me.
I'll say this, and I don't watch a lot more than RJ because most of what I watch in scripted television is anime, which is a different medium. But I do tend to watch. I've watched Walking Dead and Game of Thrones, and I do watch a lot more than he does. I would say this is the best television that I have personally watched since like the mid seasons of Game of Thrones. I would say, in my opinion, it is better than the Game of Thrones that just came out, the Dragon
House of Dragons.
House of Dragons. I think it's better than House of Dragon. From just it's less episodes. If I remember right, I think House of Dragons was quite a few more, not like 12 or something like that.
Hope you're not asking me.
Yeah, but I think it was better than House of Dragons, and I really enjoyed House of Dragon. I think that it's the best live action television I've watched since like the middle seasons of Game of Thrones. So I'm going to give it probably a 9 out of 10. Overall, maybe 8.5, which would line up with Metacritic overall. Metacritic currently has the entire series sitting at a 84 for both. For the I think this is the critics. No, this is the user score. So an 84 for the user score. Don't see the critic score on here. So about right. I maybe liked it a little bit more than most people did. And of course, also that is including the review bombs that episode 3 and 7 got. Yeah.
Which is crazy because I'm sure there was a lot. So for it to still average out at 84 speaks to the testament of those who were watching it and how strong.
Okay, no, I lied.
Oh, he lied. He's a liar.
I'm understanding the scores a little better.
Metacritic works.
The 84 is the critic score. And if I had to guess, including the review bombs, the viewer score probably averages out to like a 7.8 ish. So still,
I don't know how to take that because David he's learning Metacritic as we speak, apparently. So
yeah, I'll say anywhere from an 8 to a 9. So maybe an 8.5. Then I'll just split the difference to 8.5. And then adaptation. I've seen a lot of adaptation in anime, which has not done well.
Burned hard.
Yeah,
hard.
We've had a couple okay ones. This is the best adaptation. I've said it multiple times. This is the best adaptation that I've seen from one physical medium to another, bar none. Maybe the greatest adaptation from even a book or comic to show or movie. So I'm going to give it a 10 out of 10, even though, again, like RJ said, they changed some stuff, but every time they changed it, it was still in the spirit of the original, and it made it better. So there we go.
Well, with that, we're going to move on to whatever Dave wants to talk about with season 2. I mean, I've read some talks about season 2. Yeah. There's rumors that it's actually going to go in production this year. Who knows? I don't want to fuck around with rumors, but we will talk about our ideas and predictions for season 2, which obviously the go-to is part 2. I personally think they shouldn't do that. I think because there's a 6-year gap in the games between 1 and 2. I believe 6 years or 5 or 6, because she's 14 in the first one. She's 19.
She's like 20 something.
Oh, I thought she was 19. Okay,
she's 19 or 20. She definitely looks in her 20s.
It's like early 20s. 5-6 years have passed in between the games, and I know just from little bits clips I've seen here and there that in the early parts of the game you do have some flashback bits to Joel and Ellie back at Tommy's camp and settlement and everything. Yeah. So I do know there's a little bit of stuff.
She finds out the truth.
Yeah, I do know that's part of it. That is part of it.
But even though she probably knew the truth the whole time, he tells her the truth.
Yes, I do know about that. And so, but I know there's not much. There's not much of that.
It's really
filling
just that
in
scene.
The gap, right? And so, you have 5-6 years to work with, and so I think there is plenty of room to fill in the gaps, and I think at least a quarter or whatever of the next season should cover some of that before you just jump into game 2.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind. So they've done this before in series of HBO. They have time skips. They had time skip in the House of Dragon. They have some time skip, I think, in the original Game of Thrones. I think there's a time skip. But there has to be some time skips. Yeah. So they do time skips. They've done time skips in their other series. I think I agree. I fully agree that a good, 3 to 4 episodes with the current characters and just explaining kind of they're settling in, and then they get to the truth reveal, and, they can have some touching low key moments to really set you up into like that. Man, their life, even though Joel kind of fucks shit up, their life's really good in Jackson.
Wait, kind of? He potentially ruined humanity.
Yeah, he fucked shit up for humanity. But as far as their life's concerned, they're living the daughter.
They're living as much of the dream as they possibly could.
The daughter-father life. She they can go into him teaching her guitar. They can do all that stuff. And then I think they should do a time skip. And in my personal opinion, although I very much enjoyed Bella Ramsey as Ellie, the story for 2, I do not think can have Bella Ramsey as Ellie.
And I have to agree.
It needs to be an older actress.
Older looking actress, not necessarily older, but just older looking.
Yes.
Because if this is supposed to be the same, especially if the rumors do be true and they do start production this year, Bella still looks how she looks from the show. She doesn't look that much more mature or older. And I will tell you personally, I will not buy her being all of a sudden, and I mean, she is technically 19, so she actually does technically fits the bill, but like, I will not buy her as a 19-year-old older Ellie.
Mean, they could surprise me and do some crazy, they're
gonna do some crazy makeup, CGI shit. I don't know what, but they're gonna do something, because I'm not buying her.
The character has to age up, because the shit that Ellie does in season 2, if it's done by Bella, whatever. Part 2. If it's done by Bella Ramsey, it'll be almost comical.
Yeah.
Because Ellie is so fucking brutal.
Yeah, I've heard.
Part 2.
I've heard. Everyone's brutal. Just like you said, this is the most bleakest game you've ever played.
Yeah. So and that's another thing. They could tell part 1 story with less action than in the games. in my opinion, they cannot tell part 2 and pull action
because
the story is about
revenge, right?
Revenge,
it's
and
revenge.
the way that like violence manipulates and controls you.
Love and violence, because
Yes,
it's
love
driven
and
by
violence.
love. It's driven by love at the end of the day.
Yeah, from both sides, from
yes,
Ellie and here's where we get into a point where I thought they should have had an after credit scene for the end to set this up, and maybe not. Maybe it wouldn't make sense to people who don't know too, like people who are only watching the show. I think they should have showed, and maybe they'll start this with season 2, but there's a scene in season in there's a part in part 2 where you start playing as the other chick, Abby, where you see the aftermath of Joel's rampage from Abby's point of view. I would have liked to either saw that as an after credit scene in the end of season 1, or they could do it like the first part of season 2.
It'll most likely be like the beginning of season 2. That's probably how it'll open.
To set this
up. I
up.
could totally see it opening like that.
Yeah. So I think Bella, they're going to have to age up Bella Ramsey a lot, or in my opinion, get someone else. And that'll be hard because Bella Ramsey is very unique looking. I know people have fucking been, monsters and made fun of her looks. I just think that she is unique looking. And it'll be hard to like find an older person who looks anywhere remotely close to her. So I am interested to see what they do, but
then again, I don't know. Ellie in part 2 does look pretty different than she did in part 1, in my opinion.
Yeah.
So I think it could work. But I will say, I've been reading, apparently Bella's not going nowhere. People were talking about it, and I don't know who said it. I didn't read who said it. I don't know if it was the director, Neil or Craig or whoever, but they said Bella's not going anywhere for season 2.
They're gonna have to pull some crazy fucking makeup.
Yeah, they're gonna have to do something to her because she's very unique, yes, but her face isn't very distinguished either. So like even when she's showing anger, I can't see it. You know what I mean? Like I'm trying to say this as nicely as possible, but it's just like when she's angry, I can't see it. And to have the level of anger and rage that Ellie has in part 2, to have that portrayed properly in the show, is just how she is at the moment. I can't see it, and I won't be able to believe it either. And so, yes,
I think so. At least from what I saw in season 1, I think that with the points in where she got angry and emotional, it came off as a 14-year-old being angry and emotional.
Yeah, it came out as angst. To me, it felt like angst.
Yeah, it came out as angsty. Even when she killed David, like that was definitely the most emotional she got. But it still was like,
that was desperation. It was desperation. Yeah, that was pure desperation, that was believable. But I can't see it without it.
The anger that she has and the coldness that she has in part 2, I don't know. It's gonna be really interesting. That's
going to be a huge ass hurdle. And maybe when they said she's not going anywhere, maybe it was like you said, like have her keep her for like a first few, and then do this time skip, and then it's a new person or something. Because you can't. They've been able to de-age people with CGI. I haven't seen the reverse.
It hasn't ever been that great either. Like I don't want to be fucking looking at the main character CGI'd up. They do it with makeup, do it with wardrobe.
Even fucking Captain America at the end of what was it, Endgame? Like he just looks like Joe Biden. Like he just looks like Joe Biden.
Like a melted old man face.
Yeah, like he obviously they did make him old kind of. He did do his best to sound old, but like you could still totally see it's him. So it's very tough to age. And also we're not aging someone 80 years, where it's kind of easy to do. We're aging someone just like a few, like 7 years, just enough to make some more distinguishable features on their face and make them face look more mature. I don't know how they would do that. I mean, again, I'm not in CGI. I know you can do some fucking magic with makeup and CGI, but I just that was my worry. And so
Yeah. So okay. So and then another thing we'll touch on real quick, and I think so. This is going to be interesting. We're going to give kind of like a. I guess I'm the one that has to do it because you haven't played part 2 yet. So Abby is going to be a central character to part 2 as long as they do it like the game. They are going to have to get someone fucking jacked.
that's not hard. That's not hard at all.
It's not hard.
They got trainers all over the. They can get someone kind of beefed up a bit. That's easy. That's
in my opinion, although she is too old to play Abby, the one for one for me is Ronda Rousey.
Oh,
Ronda Rousey is pretty much Abby. Like Abby
she's
was
not a
thrown
good
down.
enough actress. She's not a good enough actress.
She's not a good enough actress.
And I want someone who that can actually act.
But body build, like Abby was throwing down some MMA shit.
Maybe the stunt double. She could be the stunt double for for her or something. Like, but I'm sorry, like, because like, okay, she's a wrestler now. I don't know if you knew. She's wrestling for a while. I don't watch wrestling actively, but I see the highlights and shit. She still is just barely getting a grasp on just talking on the microphone. So I don't have any trust in her to be an actress, especially for how integral she is to that game. She's going to be featured prominently many times. And so I wouldn't want her anywhere near my fucking show.
I want it. And here's another thing that might be controversial. And maybe we'll go through a whole other show-only people controversy. Is one, like we talked about when we talked about part 2, I am 100% okay with the story. I love the story. I love the message. I love how they did it in part 2. So obviously, spoilers for 2 here. I think I can say it here. Spoilers for part 2 and season 2. Joel dies. He's killed by Abby in revenge. I also think that half the season should be from Abby's perspective, hunting down or being hunted by Ellie. I think we should have it be from both sides, just like it was in the game.
I think, I would want it to, I would not want a whole episodes dedicated to her with no Ellie in it. What I would like is the constant back and forth. That's what I would want. I want, if Ellie is hunting her, then I want constant back and forth. I want like a big old bit with Ellie trying to get away. I want bits with Ellie trying to get her, and then they coming to different people, contacts with others or whatever along the ways. That's what I would want. But then again, I haven't even played the game yet, so I don't even know.
You should play the game.
Here's the thing: like, if I hear once I hear that production has begun, I'm playing part 2.
Good.
That's when I will play part 2 because I'm not going into this show without playing the game.
In the game, what I like from having pretty much, so you go through like 3/4 of the story, of the whole entire story as Ellie to begin the game with, and then it cuts to Abby, and pretty much from it goes all the way back, pretty much from before you even kill Joel. And then it progresses to the same point. So you see elements that you saw as Ellie from Abby's perspective and Abby's friends' perspectives. So like when you killed someone, like you didn't even see them, right? Like I think there was a part where you killed a sniper, and all you know as Ellie is that you took care of a sniper that was shooting at you, and then you see it from Abby's perspective, and one of your best friends just got his head blown off. So like watching that dichotomy was really, it plays towards the message of that violence is terrible depending on what perspective you're in.
They're showing the darkest sides of love. And also just the brutality, humanity when it comes to killing.
And it all started with Joel.
And what's actually funny, I think the show kind of begins this because they talk about in the after bit about they wanted to show how dark or the other side of love, where that could take you, right? And I think this begins that, which can set the tone for season 2 if it does incorporate a lot of part 2 in it, because that is like the main motif of part 2 is, and they try to let us know ahead of time, like, yo, this game is like, no, this is what we're trying to do with this game, is show everybody that, you know, they're not glorifying death, but you have to do a lot of it, but they're showing you there is consequences to everything you do.
Well, and you think about Joel's decision. If he would have made the other decision, then potentially, and we don't know for sure because it wasn't a guarantee that you know, that taking out the cordyceps from Ellie's brains would have been able to produce antibodies or whatever, you know, cure it is. But he could have, you know, saved the whole Earth. But his decision starts this chain of revenge. So because he essentially revenge killed, I mean, I guess pre-revenge killed to get Ellie back. Then Abby revenge kills for her dad, and then Ellie goes on a rampage to revenge kill for Joel. And so it's this escalation.
And it also was just a spiral. It's a never-ending spiral, but it's a never-ending escalating spiral of just bitterness, hatred, rage, revenge.
Love is like a circle.
And love is like a circle that never
love
ends.
Is like a circle. Even bad love is revenge. Love is like a circle.
The ending of season 1, I think, can possibly begin this new direction that this universe is going to take, because for those who aren't ready, oh boy, if you wanted action, boy, are you going to get it?
Hopefully, yeah. I don't see how they can do the story, because the story is so pivotal. Like I said, I think the game, like, you could have had, you know, it wouldn't have been a very good game, but you could have had that game have very little action, you know, besides some set pieces, and had the same story. You cannot have the story of part 2 without copious amounts of violence
and death and blood and everything and revenge
and people yelling out people's names as Ellie fucking
oh gosh, yeah, they make you feel
dog killings. There better be at least like 4 dogs that just fucking get blown up. And just the sound of them going like oh man. Yeah. So
it's gonna be so if they make it as dreary and drab as the game is, man, people aren't.
It's gonna be fucking depressing.
People are not ready. People are not ready for how bad it was about to be.
Do not go into these episodes like
happy.
Happy. There was points in this season where you were like, oh man, like it made me feel happy how Joel and Ellie were connecting, and there is fucking none of that. Like
zero.
You get into like the first like little part of the game when Ellie is interacting with her girlfriend.
Yeah.
But from the moment that Ellie finds out Joel has died to the fucking end of the game, it is hell.
And it is a longer game than 1 was too. So
yeah. It is. There's no happy moments.
Like I know part of me is also kind of hesitant to even start the game because you from what you were telling me about it, and that was part of the controversy. That was a separate controversy about the game too, beyond just the, you know, Abby being manly and
and Joel dying,
pushing the you know, the agenda, and of course, yes, Joel dying. People will also
funny thing is Abby's straight, so like.
I can't fuck you, or you don't look like someone I can fuck.
Yeah,
so.
I can't fuck muscle.
I can't fuck you with them biceps. Anyways, though, but I was gonna say the other separate. I remember reading some of the reviews from it, and some of the other controversy about it was just how depressing and how the game really makes you feel every death in a way that most games don't do. They don't humanize your enemies, and everyone is humanized in this, to the point where like they even had it to where some of the people you fought, like some of them like were against certain groups of people, like trans or something like that. I think they put that in the game too. You kind of had to find it, but that was in the game too. So they really humanized that, you know, because no one wants to humanize the bad people of this world, the negative people of this world. We want to forget they exist, but this game doesn't forget that they are part of, like, even though the apocalypse is happening, people still have discriminations or people they don't like for whatever reason, and they're in this game. And the reviews kind of were like, should this be in the game? Like, is this something we should have? Like, because this is like games are supposed to be an escape. They're supposed to be a
and like
thing to have fun with, but this is just bumming me out.
although I liked the game, and I've said this before, I liked the game, but I can't say I had fun playing it.
You did say that. You said that from the start. You're like, I didn't have fun. I didn't have fun,
and I wouldn't play it again. But it is one of my favorite games of all time.
Well, we'll find out.
That's so weird.
We'll find out.
It's so weird.
Yeah, I'm not looking. I might have to put on headphones when I play that game. I don't need anyone else hearing this terribleness that's about to be in this game. Like,
but yeah, guys, thank you for joining us on this diversion of our normal podcasting repertoire.
We'll be back to
we had a lot of fun with it. I had a lot of fun talking with RJ about something communal. Hopefully we can do some more of this. We were talking about maybe doing a shorter version where I watch all of the One Piece live action series of Netflix and coming back and talking to RJ about it, because that's a little bit more my thing. But yeah, thank you for joining us. Let us know your ratings again for this episode 9, and the whole season. And if you do, I think if you do and you don't, so like, what's your expectations for the second season? If you know what part 2 is about, or if you don't know what part 2 is about, although we did kind of spoil that a lot for you.
You know now. You know a lot now, because David wanted to let you guys know all about part 2.
Yeah,
that's all David's fault. Don't even get mad at me.
Hey, I'm the leak, right? Like, it was leaked. It was the game had the whole premise leaked, and that was a whole thing. So I'm just following suit.
I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe it when that got leaked.
That was a big leak.
When Joel, Joel, I was like, no, don't. It can't be. No.
Fucking 6 wood to the head.
But anyways, so also a little thing. So I know these are coming out on Tuesdays. We'll be back to having them hopefully on Sundays. It was only because the show comes out on Sunday. It's late at night. We can't record till Monday. Then I got to put it out on Tuesday. But we'll try to get it back to what it used to be, which was on Sundays. But yeah, other than that, we'll see you guys next time. If you had fun with us, entertained, like, comment, subscribe, and we'll see you next time.
Yeah.
Bye.
Bye, guys.